All right, guys, thanks for joining me over here. Melissa here. I did a video this morning about some changes in my life, and so I said I'm going to change my shirt, and I did. So my other shirt was just wrinkly. Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about here. Where to begin? Okay, so I absolutely love this job. If you look behind me, which I'm not really going to put the camera over there, but I am working at a car dealership. I am in sales. I absolutely love it. The thing is, though, as I love this job, okay, you want to make sure, guys, you homeschool your jobs. Okay, this sounds weird, but homeschool your jobs. Because what happens is you get a ton of experience in life. So there are some things in life that you want to stay committed to, and there are other things in life that are not as important, right? So my husband would be like, oh, you can't even keep a job. I've had over 100 jobs, guys. So it's not that I can't keep them. It's that I have a mentality that a job has not been, one particular job has not been a main priority in my life. And that's because my priorities were different. 2 times in life that I had gone through more jobs than other times. One was high school after the abortion. I think I was just trying to hold on to something, guys. Abortion is really hard for a woman to go through. So I was just jumping jobs, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want. I'm totally lost. I don't know what I'm doing. And I learned a lot, okay? And during that crisis, I also graduated early from high school. So I do well in crises, and when I have a crisis, and I don't know why, but it motivates me to move in directions that actually help me to be stronger. So that was one time. I mean, I must have had, after my first job, I was there like a year. And then once the abortion hit, I was just all over the place. I was dating, I was all over the place. And I think that's kind of normal too, in some ways, in other ways for girls, because not just the abortion, but trying to figure out life, right? Trying to get direction, trying to figure out which guy to date, trying to figure out all the intricacies of the dating life, right? Without direction. Like, this guy said this, or he's looking like this, or he's doing this, and then you're trying to figure out your girlfriends, and you're like, well, she's got a new girlfriend, and that just hurt, and I don't have anyone to talk to about that, and you're on your own, and you're trying to figure out a lot. So, I am moving, and as I move, this is going to be a huge change for me, guys, because for 33 years, not only was I married, but I had my kids with me. Okay, so my 2 youngest, I've always lived with my 2 youngest, so this is going to be very different. And my first 3, it was like 18 and you're out, right? And so my first one was 19 and he was in the military. He did a great job. My second one traveled around the world. And my third one traveled around the world too. My third one got hit hard with just like, he backpacked around the country. He got, it's not like when I was growing up. He got hit hard. So, but he had to learn. He's also a toughie. So, someone said something that was really helpful. They said every guy is different, right? And every guy is different. And I was listening to the radio about how this mom said to her son, he's like, what if I want to do this? What if I don't want to go to college? What if I don't want to do this? And she's like, the world squeezes our sons into a certain mold. And she's like, you can do whatever you want, to her son. So, so the second time I went through a lot of jobs is when my husband left. And that wasn't like trying to find my way. That was just trying to stay on my feet in a new state. Google is my best friend, okay? I get lost very easy. So anyways, what I want to say to you ladies, to encourage women, Don't let the jobs be a priority in your life. So many people get stuck in jobs. They're like, oh, I have a job here. They're not loyal to people anymore. Or I have a job here and I have to live here. You don't have to live. You can live anywhere you want and you can work anywhere you want. You can homeschool your jobs. As a matter of fact, I did this in the cleaning business. I was just like, okay, I am only going to work here a certain time, and then I'm going to try working for this company and this company and this one. And because I gained all that experience, I started my business because I have Airbnbs, hotels, commercial, residential. I've done it all, medical grade, med grade cleaning. So I know my cleaning. And that's what you want to do, guys. And I also know my sales because I've worked in tons of restaurants. What you do want to prioritize, ladies, and this is what you want to stick, is not just your marriage of 33 years, but your theology. You want that to stick. So as I've gone to different churches, and that's another thing you can homeschool. Homeschool different churches. Use the world as your carpet, right? And be like, okay, this is what I see in this church. This is what I like in this church. This is what I don't like. Don't worry about having to stay at one church all your life because churches change all the time. But when it comes to your theology and knowing your Bible, that is your rock in life, guys. And then it's supposed to be your marriage, right? For life. And then your kids for life, right? You're always going to be part of their life at some level. It may be you don't talk for a few years. It may be you talk all the time. I mean, it's just going to look different with each individual kid. So don't let the jobs hold you back in life, guys. I mean, I haven't really had to work up until I came over here. And even then, I'm pretty resourceful. But now, I'm like, well, now, I absolutely have to work. And what do I want to do? So all those years of experience, guys, I've been looking at processes in companies. I worked for Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. I've done the dead-end jobs. And the difference is the process. So get a job with a good process. I was talking to some bankers and they're like, oh, we love to loan to Chick-fil-A. What's the difference? They have their processes. I made a sale yesterday with an appointment. What's the difference? These people have their process down. So I was talking to my SCORE mentor about this last night and I'm like, that's it. I know how to sell, but why is it with my own business, I'm struggling to get my business going, right? And I took a step back and he's like, focus on one thing, our last meeting. So I'm like, that's it. I know what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the process more. And I did all this work for my process. Then you get out there and you start your business and you're like, darn, nobody wants to pay for cleaning in this day and age. Darn, this happened and this happened and that happened. And so use your experience to constantly be changing your process. So Chick-fil-A has their process. I've worked for them. They've got their process down. And this place does too. I mean, it's pages of processes. So that's the difference between a company that succeeds and doesn't. And before, when I worked teenage jobs, yeah, I was busy dating. I didn't care about my jobs. Then you just spend, you're trying to fit in, you're trying to do all this. And then you got your home where you're like, okay, I can only work part-time. I've got kids and you've got a lot of them. And then you're like, okay, now I have to get out there and reinvent myself. So I've had to do that with my jobs, right? To stay, what's the word? I forget. To stay in the know. And so now it's like, okay, I have a career now. And now it's like all those years that you put into your work, now is the time to have a career. And a lot of people feel like you should have a career, at the beginning of your life. But I homeschooled for 30 years. And that was also a career I had. So when you have to change, make sure you have plenty of experience under your belt, guys. Plenty, so that you can use anything. So I just had to learn how to read a script. I'm like, geez, Melissa, if you wanted to go into being, acting, you know how to read a script pretty good. Or, you know, this job I got totally by accident. I came in to do, I used my schooling with business development for this job, and they're like, well, we have this, you know, opportunity instead. Would you like that? I'm like, yeah. Didn't even know what I was getting into, guys. Total accident getting this job. I was talking to a girl, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I love your hair. And she's like, thank you. And I go, you know, I used to do hairdressing, so that's why I notice people's hair. And she's like, you know, my mom does hairdressing, and she's got these splinters. You know how you can get splinters? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, you can get splinters in your hands, and she's had to have surgery. I'm like, what? I never heard of that. She's like, well, you're so lucky that you stayed home with your kids instead of doing hairdressing. And that's a choice I made, guys. I chose to be at home, stay at home mom instead of pursuing my career. And she's like, that would have been a worse path for you. And I'm like, well, I know, yeah, people get arthritis in their wrists from doing hair, but I didn't know that. So make the right decisions, guys, and it's usually with family. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys. I gotta run.